Hey gang, it is Average Guy here on a rainy Sunday afternoon where I live, and a lot of people have been asking me for a follow-up video on my Continental Tkc70 tires, right? Both Big Guy and I put together some videos a while back when we first got these tires, and naturally people want to know how they're performing. So Big Guy should be uploading some videos today with his Heidenau Tkc70s, brand new purchase. And so we thought it would be a good time now to go ahead and do a follow-up video. I want to get out in the open right away that I am not in the market for a new tire yet. Big Guy had to get some new tires because he had a couple of punctures in the back tire of his Tkc70. He'll address that in his video, but for the purposes of my video, what I want to discuss here is the fact that, if you recall from the first video, I purchased these tires with just short of 10,000 miles on my BMW R1200 GS. So the Aniki 3s were what came, from the manufacturers, what was on the bike when I got it. They went just short of 10,000 miles, and I have just over 14,400 miles on my bike now. So I'm going to say that these tires have roughly 45 to 4,700 miles on them, maybe 4,800 on the long side, and this should give you a pretty good idea of how they're wearing. I apologize for all the white dust on the tire, but I live on a gravel road, so it picks up that ABC kind of, crusher dust on it as I roll. But there's the tire. A couple of notes of interest. They are starting to sing a bit on the front, and it usually is somewhere in that 40 to 60 mile an hour range where you kind of get a lot of humming from the front tire, but it's not really noticeable when you get over, say, 60, 65. I think the tires are wearing pretty well. I would say they're probably about half worn, so I'm looking to get somewhere in the 8,000 to 9,000 miles out of the tires, which to me is not too bad. But they are starting to show some signs of wear that I wish they weren't, and it's very difficult to show on the video. So I'm going to explain it a little bit and hope that it makes sense. I tried some various approaches and I haven't found a way to illustrate this, but here we go. It's difficult to see, but this piece of the tread all the way down the tire is definitely cupped in fairly significantly. I got a United States penny because in America, one of the rules of thumb is 2/32 of an inch of tread depth, and before you need to replace your tires or before they'll fail vehicle inspection. And I tried to set this in there, but it's really difficult to tell. It just barely is reaching Lincoln's head, which means that it's definitely down to that 2/32 of an inch mark, maybe even less. But on the back side of the lug behind it, and again, I apologize, gang, this is really hard to see. I'm doing the best I can here, but they're clearly have more than that 2/32 of an inch. It's a little easier to tell on this particular set of lugs right here. This is very shallow and this is still very tall. So I haven't figured out a good way to illustrate that. Maybe Big Guy will take a look at this video and have some suggestions for me, but there it is. There's also a little bit of splitting that's starting to happen in some of the lugs, and I hope this is coming out, but there is a crack right there, and it seems to echo its way down each lug. That crack does exist. And then on the inside of where the lug actually meets the center of the tire, there's some cracking down in there as well. I haven't had any lugs fall off. I haven't had any split or chunk out, but Big Guy did. His were showing significantly more wear than mine. But again, this is Big Guy reviews, and we suspect one of the reasons that his wore harder than mine was because he's a big guy and I'm not. I'm currently sitting around 160 pounds, and not to sell Big Guy out, but he's got more than 100 pounds on me. So as he rides his bike, his tires and things take significantly more abuse than mine do. So that's my follow-up review, guys. Just in summary, probably 4,500 miles on the tire. I'm very satisfied with the performance. I have clearly ridden it about 80% on the highway and 20% off-road. It's performed better than the Aniki 3 off-road by far. We really got into some crazy off-road stuff on a trip that we took over the summer, and I was very pleased with how the tire performed on this machine. It's not dirt bike, competent on the trails that we rode, but for an adventure bike, I think it did exceptionally well, and I'm very pleased with the tire. I would seriously consider getting these tires a second time when I go to replace them. But that's a lot of that's going to depend on what big guy starts to experience in the next 4,000 miles or so on the Heidenau K60s that he put on his bike. If they wear as long as these are wearing, and they have equally as good on-road traction in the wet, I would still consider the Heidenau K60s. But for now, the Tkc70 is clearly my tire of choice. So far, we've ridden on Anarchy 3s. We've ridden on a set of Metzlers that I can't remember what the Torrents, pardon me, they were Torrents tires. We rode on those, and these have been the superior tire out of that whole group. So I hope that these reviews are helping you guys. I wish I had a better way to show you tread depth. If anybody has a suggestion on how to get that illustrated on cam, I'll be more than happy to come out here and do a follow-up video. I apologize for all the motion and whatnot, but leave your comments and questions, and as always, we'll look forward to seeing you guys, and thanks for watching the video.